Starmer, I'm going to read out exactly what he has been talking about today. And if you're in the UK, you already know what this is about, most likely. KEIR Starmer gives permissions for British military to intercept Russian shadow fleet. These things are temporary, but what he's doing is playing with fire. What I believe is going to take place once this goes into motion, which sounds like it's been already approved by KEIR Starmer and his board. You could correct me if I'm wrong, but he's already put it out there in the media. So I see at the end of, well, we already are at the end of March, but very soon, very, very soon, I have these things down in order. A boarding or interception that doesn't go well, which would be a vessel that, say, refuses to comply on either end, on either side, okay? Then we could see British forces stop a tanker. Then there would be escalation, and something could go very wrong. And we could use the word misjudgment, is what I was hearing, misjudgment, all right? The next thing that would take place after that would be retaliation, most likely Russia retaliating, because I could see probably the UK would attack first, right? In the waters, and then there's going to be an infrastructure retaliation, meaning Russia will hit something, most likely connected to UK ports, shipping systems, logistics, fuel. And Russia's thought process is, you touched our supply lines, now we touch yours. Some of these are really oil tankers, per se, that are coming out of the Russian waters and being confiscated by the West as the Russian oil ships are en route, right? But other ships that you will start seeing in the waters of Europe, all over, I can't specify where because all over, could be something that looks suspicious, like a ship from Russia using a undercover flag and there's oil on the rig, right? You may see military fly on board and find no oil, and it is a test of leverage, okay? And this is what I'm going to say. The UK and certain parts of the world, Western world, including here, but especially these specific countries like Germany, again, I mentioned the UK, we talk about France, we talk about many more. The Baltic states, especially the Baltic states, we talk about Lithuania, Latvia, we talk about the Slavic regions, but especially parts of the West, we talk about that. And here's what I'm going to say. These areas are going to be tested because they keep badgering the bear. Now, I'm not saying that two wrongs make a right, but be logical and think about it. They've been badgering the bear over in the East. I'm talking about Russia for a very long time, pushing for a war that nobody wants. It's going to come down to, in the next 1 to 3 years, actually, I could say that we are in a 5 to 7 year arc. I'll get into that more later in some previous videos. I talk about it as well, but we're going to get into that later on once I'm more set up and sophisticated, where I can make videos. You don't have to see my face up close up. Anyways, it's going to be like testing to see how quick the European militaries respond to these, what I call spawn ships, where there's no oil of them. It's going to be a fuck around and find out moment. That's all I can say at this point, but we will get into it later on. So yes, I did predict that there would be Russian oil tankers in or around the UK waters and France, Germany, but we did talk about the UK. Good catch to whoever brought that to my attention. And as far as what KEIR Starmer does, in my prediction, I said that once the waters are able to pick up on this Russian vessel, and unfortunately that's happened, KEIR Starmer would react, and it would not be the way he should react. It will come back to bite UK later on, and also it will come back to bite KEIR Starmer now. So you guys over there in the area of the UK, you need to really pay close attention to how the Prime Minister, who should not be the Prime Minister at this time, how he responds to this, because it may not be, he's not going to go about it professionally. And that was part of my other prediction that I talked about, that he would respond and do something or say something pretty stupid. So there you have it, guys. That is my validation and my part 2 to the previous prediction that I foresee happening. What I speak on, I can't always claim to be factual. And I really want to say thank you to those of you who have been supporting my channel. Please continue doing so by subscribing, liking, hyping, sharing out my videos, sharing my workout, so I can continue doing this for you all. It is something I do part-time, and you know, my life situation has been throwing me off lately because of everything that's happening, but I want to get back into doing this again part-time and sharing my gifts with you all. My intuition is what I call it, just intuition. That's what it is. We all have it. It just depends on how far you want to dip into it to make it happen. All right, guys, until the next one, I'll see you soon.